I've chosen to be a trauma therapist because I was passionate about the why. Like, I think that everybody has a reason behind their behaviors or why they do certain things. And so I think a lot of people get judged based upon what they're doing instead of asking what happened or asking the why behind it. So I got really curious. Not only did I have experienced trauma myself, but I got curious as to like what happened and why. So why therapy? Because I think that it's essential to just the whole person. Many people say, I when you talk about the whole health spectrum, everybody goes to the doctor, everybody goes to the dentist, everybody goes to the gym, but everybody forgets your mind. Everybody forget the mental health part of it, and the one thing that drives all of those things, whether it's you're going to the dentist, whether it's checking on your physical health, and everybody forgets that some symptoms or some issues coming from your emotional health.
Oh my God, he's such a loser.
What's up, losers, and welcome back to another episode of the Popular Loser Podcast, where it's okay not to fit in. I'm your host, KD, and I have a new guest today, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and how long she's been in her career field.
Hey, everybody. My name is Marshae Anderson. I have been in the mental health field for over 10 years now. I've been a trauma therapist for about 7 years.
Saying trauma therapist, how do you exactly pick which one you're going to go into?
Good question. I think that I've chosen to be a trauma therapist because I was passionate about the why. Like, I think that everybody has a reason behind their behaviors or why they do certain things. And so I think a lot of people get judged based upon what they're doing instead of asking what happened or asking the why behind it. So I got really curious. Not only did I have experienced trauma myself, but I got curious as to like what happened and why. So,
Speaking of therapy, why therapy? It's a lot of things everybody can choose in their life. Why was therapy the thing for you?
why therapy? Because I think that it's essential to just the whole person. Many people say, when you talk about the whole health spectrum, everybody goes to the doctor, everybody goes to the dentist, everybody goes to the gym, but everybody forgets your mind. Everybody forget the mental health part of it, and the one thing that drives all of those things, whether it's you're going to the dentist, whether it's checking on your physical health, and everybody forgets that some symptoms or some issues coming from your emotional health. So.
Emotional health, especially within maybe like the last 10 years, it's became so much of a bigger topic. Do you think it was super neglected, or do you think some people, as they say, are soft?
I think that people have not realized that it's important. Like, it's essential. Like, it's pretty much the basis of what we do. And it drives so many different things of how we say, how we interact, how we interact with relations, how we do our jobs, how we interact with people. I think we forget about that part. And I think that people want to give it, to religion, or wants to cause, blame it on other things than just the emotional part of it. So
I don't know if you are religious. You don't have to say if you are, if you're not. But being that you are in therapy, and so many people do have religious beliefs, how do you kind of correlate, like how you said, how people try to blame it one way, but you have to also understand that your mind is what it is. So how do you kind of deal with people who are so heavy on the religion part?
I do say that one of the hardest things for people that are religious, who identify in the faith, sometimes it is hard for them to get help because they think that God or their being or whoever that they worship is the cure for all. And so that may be a part or a part of the healing process, your faith, prayer, meditation, but it's not necessarily a cure for all. Some things that it has to, like, for instance, if you need surgery, I'm sure you're not going to go to the church to get surgery. I'm sure you're going to go to the hospital. And so you're not just going to pray your headache away. You're going to go take an Advil. And so it's just the same process of healing whatever emotional thing that you're dealing with, is that it's a portion of the process, but it's not necessarily the whole process.
What age do you think you kind of chose therapy is what you were going to do?
Naturally, I've always had wisdom, and people naturally came to talk to me, or I've been the person that people came to talk to.
For advice?
So I naturally I'm the oldest sibling. And I have two younger sisters.
Okay.
And so I'm naturally the oldest, and so naturally I've always wanted to help people. When I first went to college, I actually went to be a teacher. And so until I realized that, like, I can't help people the way that I thought that I could help. Like, teaching them, yes, but I couldn't reach people the way that I needed to reach unless I wanted to know why.
When do you think the change, because I know you said when you first went to college, when do you think the change happened from saying teacher to therapy?
Once I realized taking the classes, like, I'm teaching a subject that I don't get to actually interact with you in your everyday living. And so that's when I recognized, like, I'm actually teaching a subject, and this is going to be the barrier for me to actually understand, why did you come to class and fall asleep, or why is things troubling you? And so going the path that I took, it allowed me to be able to explore that and help people through that process.
What school did you go to?
For my undergrad, I went to Saginaw Valley State University. For my graduate program, I went to Spring Arbor University.
So did you have to go 7 or 8 years?
Yeah. Roughly about 8 years.
Yeah, every doctor that comes on here has said that 8 years is tough. I went to school for 4, and I feel like that was 17.
Yeah, it was definitely 8 years. So I feel like, especially in grad school, I didn't have a life. You can't have a life in grad school.
How is grad school? How was grad school for you?
It was actually life-changing, to be honest with you. To be a therapist, it questions everything about you. It questions your upbringing. It questions your bias. It questions, why did you want to be a therapist? And to be honest with you, it's not that the program was hard, but it was hard because it challenges and asks you to face your own stuff. And so, many of the assignments that we had was questioning, like, what did you believe in? Why did you believe in this? And it challenges you because you're like, oh, I didn't know that I believe this way or think this way. And to be a therapist, a lot of our biases, we had to make sure that we address them. So, which means that, if I feel a certain way towards a population, I have to make sure that that's not getting in the way from that to help that person.
That was a great answer. You've given a lot of really good answers. I just wanted to start off by telling you that you've given a lot of really good answers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. With being in therapy, do you notice that, like, different people in your life maybe treat you differently, or, like, maybe come to you more, or, like, try to maybe abuse, like, the friendships or certain relationships with you being in therapy?
That's a good question. I've had to learn to set really good boundaries and in a loving way. Naturally, as a therapist, you're going to get the support of nurturing. You're going to get the wisdom. You're going to get that just being in relation with me. So even if I'm talking to a stranger, like, naturally you're going to get that love. Like, I've talking to strangers and they're like, oh my goodness, I can tell something about you, the energy about you. So naturally you're going to get that from me. Now, some friends are privy to certain things, like if they want to understand different therapists or finding the therapist, you are privy to that. It's almost like if you know a doctor, they're going to
for sure.
going to send you to some of their best friends, or they're going to make sure that you get the best care. So that's just naturally come with the territory. Some people do automatically kind of assume that I'm going to give them the answers or assume that I'm going to be their therapist. And that's when I put the boundaries. Like I've had friends say, oh, you could just be my therapy, or you can be my therapist and it's just that easy, or just give me the answers. And so I've had the opportunity to just, kind of draw the line in the sand and say, hey, no, this is the work that you have to do to talk to your therapist. Or I've helped them find the appropriate person to talk to.
Would you be okay with being a friend's therapist?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Legally and
I figured.
ethically, that wouldn't be appropriate. And you would want to go to somebody that actually doesn't know you. You know what I mean? And so not that I can't support or help my friend, but honestly, I think I'm grateful for the ethics because it allows us to separate that boundary. Because if I'm a therapist friend, then that changes the dynamic and that changes the role. And so if I'm my friend's therapist, then who's going to be a friend to me? So if I'm sitting at the dinner table I'm always pouring out to them, then this is no longer a friendship. This is now I'm working.
Yeah.
So you're a client.
And at that, you're working on an all-the-time basis.
Mm-hmm.
That was powerful. I'm going to be honest. I couldn't imagine having to always deal with like people just thinking this is what you have to do. Mm-hmm. Are a lot of people like really, what's the word, like entitled to that?
I have really good people in my life who ask and say, hey, I'm not trying to overstep boundaries. However, I want to understand. I have something, that I want to get off, or do you have time or do you have space? So I've built that relation with people now that they ask and say, hey, do you have time to have space? Like, hey, I want the therapist side of Marshae rather than like the friend or the sister or whatever. So people do ask now. Or recently, me and my friend just had a conversation. She says, Marshae, I want our relationship just to be how it has always been. And she says, I don't need a therapist. I just want you to be a friend. And so I respected that wholeheartedly because, again, I get to be in a space where I'm human too. I need a friend. You know what I mean? So
is that ever hard for you? Like,
you
with you being a therapist, like going to other people, is that ever hard for you?
No, I think I have a really good village. I think that, one, I have a therapist myself, but I also have colleagues in the field that I can sit down and talk and, and glean from that support as well.
How was it finding a job in the field when you first graduated?
That's a good question. It was hard a little bit because in this field, like most positions want you to have experience. And yes, I have experience based upon like the internship and the time.
And they don't count that, and they don't count that as experience.
They don't count that. So they'll look at you
that
as like, oh, you don't have enough experience. Or you may get the job, but you may get lowballed or like be low on the total poll or something like that. So I had to work my way up to even create a name for myself or create a space where I'm kind of known or, credible. But yeah, no, it's hard because you don't have the experience to even vouch for yourself. So it's almost like it's who you know, not what you know. It's who you know when you're coming into the field.
Was it like a long period of time from when you graduated to when you were able to get your first job?
No, it was the same year I graduated. It was who I knew. So it's just like networking and stuff like that. So it's pretty easier for me, but I know other therapists have had a hard time. But also too, no, because our field is forever growing. So because we are in demand that, yes, it could be hard because of experience, but then no, it's like we actually need you.
So with you now being the owner of your own business, what's been like the biggest difference working under someone and then now working for yourself?
I think the biggest difference is, one, it's you get to work your own mission versus working somebody else's mission.
What do you mean by that exactly?
So versus the mission of an organization that I used to maybe work for is their mission could be to service the low income or service the certain population. That's their mission. And so now I get to focus on whatever my mission is and whatever that looks like. Like I solely want to focus on working with individuals with trauma. So versus me working with individuals, just a certain population or things of that nature. So that's one of the biggest differences. Like I now get to work for myself. I get to work on my mission and fulfill that mission how I want to fulfill it versus working very hard or overworking myself for somebody else's mission and to fulfill theirs.
With like getting new clients, as you obviously have a business on your own, were you able to pull some of the people from where you previously were, or was it difficult getting new patients, or how was it for you?
So coming from other organizations, no. Literally coming into private practice now, I'm in private practice now. I really had to start from scratch and literally built my clientele up. Now,
that is tough to have to build from ground zero.
That is tough.
How did you do that?
That's a good question. Honestly, I don't even know how. And so that is a tough question for me because I don't know how. I remember when I quit my full-time job working for someone, and I remember jumping into a private practice, and I said, okay, this is a huge leap of faith because I think I only had, during that time, it was around this time, I think I only had I was seeing 4 to 5 clients after work. And when I finally put my faith in and said, I'm just going to do this full time, my caseload doubled, tripled. And I don't know how, because yes, I had a Psychology Today. I market that way, but I've never marketed on social media. I've never put up any advertising rather than Psychology Today. And I did get some, but it was kind of slow at that Psychology Today. It was just word of mouth. It was just people saying, hey, she's good. Hey, I like your work and things of that nature. Now over the years, they just maintain, or again, you just, with private practice, you're building your own brand. And so people have just said, hey, now that I have a social media platform, I get people from there, that marketing tool, but literally it's just sort of been a word of mouth.
That's amazing. To start from ground zero and to just shoot up the ranks like that is amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think you cannot have your stuff together and be a good therapist?
I think that's kind of a hard question because that doesn't allow us to be human. To say I have to have my stuff together, that's kind of like making me feel like I have to be so human. I can't be so human. And so I think that, yes, for the most part, that we have to make sure that we're regulating our emotions. But I don't think that we have to have our stuff all together because we're human. Many of us have our own lives. Many of us have our own hobbies. Many of us have our own traumas and our own histories. So, yes, to be able to do this work, we have to regulate ourselves and make sure that we're good for the other person. But no, I think we're human.
I think that's true. I think that's honestly anything in the world. I think you could be a good football player, but not be a good person. I think everything in life, I think you can be good at your job, but not be, whatever else said thing. I think with your field is just a little conscrewed sometimes because I think being a therapist, people think you're supposed to have it together because you are the therapy. So what am I, how do you not got it together when I'm paying you to get me together? Do you ever feel that from customers? Or I'm sorry, not to say customers.
Clients.
Yeah, clients. I apologize for saying that.
No, I think that I do a really good balance trying to be human and transparent and let them know that I'm human too. I actually go to Target. I actually go to Barnes & Noble. I'm actually human so that they can see that okay, woof. She also lived this life too. And so as I always tell some of my clients, I'm honest and say, yes, I got a therapist too. After I leave here, sometimes some days I don't have it all together. And one of my disclaimers that I give my clients. If I'm not my 100%, then I won't show up either. So just like you may cancel for something, I said, then there's times where I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling well emotionally either, and I'm not going to show up. And so that's one of the disclaimers that I give them, so they'll know, like, I'm human and I have to take care of myself first, because I would not show up if I'm not 100.
Being a therapist, finding a therapist, was that difficult?
Yeah, it is. It is, because I have been in this field for quite some time, and because of some of my specialties and some of the things that I know. So, yes, I was a little bit hard on who I chose as my therapist. And so, because I've been through a couple of them, and I was like, oh, no, that's not necessarily a good fit. I know what she's doing. But I also had to remind myself.
Hey, I'm sorry to cut you off, but laughing. But that's kind of funny to say that. Like, I know what she's doing because y'all in the same field. That's
it's
so
true.
funny
It's
to
true.
say.
But then I also have to learn how to be the client. But that's where I've gotten like, that's where I really gotten, I've learned to pick the right one by just their longevity, like their expertise in what they are good at, and knowing, the areas of what I need. And so, but yeah, it was kind of hard. It was not hard, but it was kind of hard because, again, I am a therapist and I have to learn how to be the client and to receive what they're doing, because I'm used to being in the sea. But no, it wasn't hard because I just found the ones that I just knew which ones to choose based upon their expertise and their specialties.
Could you tell, being a therapist, can you tell another therapist, like, just within conversation?
Yeah, 9 out of 10. Yeah, you can tell another therapist. We all talk alike, almost, in a sense. Not that we all talk alike. We all
Is it
have
like
a
certain
certain
verbiage?
energy. It's the verbiage. It's the way that we carry ourselves. It's the conversations. It's something. You'll tell. It's just how we are in our aura. You know what I mean? Like, naturally, there's certain things that you're going to naturally tell that, oh, she's a therapist. She's in the helping profession or something. Some things that you can tell.
Do you relate closely like social work and therapy?
There are social workers who are clinical social workers who are therapists, yes. But then social work within itself, it's also a whole nother direction as well. So social workers help with resources, more of like, for an example, like a case manager, help with housing resources. They're advocating, they're behind certain things, changing laws and making sure that there's resources in the community, talking to people and helping them through some of maybe the immediate crisis that you may be experiencing.
And we down to like the last couple questions.
Okay.
One of the biggest questions I always ask is, what is the pros and the cons to being a therapist? You can start with the pros. Give me like 2 to 3 of each.
Let's see. 2 to 3 pros of being a therapist is, I can say that I feel like we have like kind of the cheat sheet on life. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, it's not fair that you know certain things. Like, I feel like we've studied the human behavior and studied humans a long time, that like I feel like I have a cheat sheet on life. So that's a pro for me. There's certain things that I know and can discern or assess quick and be like, ooh, I wouldn't do that, or, oh, I noticed that about this person. And so it's almost like a little cheat sheet that we have. Another pro of being a therapist is that I actually love to see a person go from coming in with whatever diagnosis or whatever issue that they have. And I love the journey that I get to walk that person through. And I love to see the beginning and the end. The cons about being a therapist is the stereotypes that we get, and that we get put on a pedestal a lot, or we don't get viewed as a human. And instantly people assume that when they meet us or they say that I'm a therapist, sometimes I'm actually not honest about that I'm a therapist. And so sometimes, depending on what situation
I
I'm
could
in,
see that.
I may say I'm a police officer. I may say like one time I went out of town and I said I was a lawyer. And so just so that it wouldn't get on the spot.
The pandering with
my cousin is on medication, or hey, so what do you get? One time I was at the dentist's office getting my mouth clean, and once she knew that I was a therapist, she started asking me questions. And so sometimes it's not fair to me because I've gotten a massage before, and the massage, the whole 60 minutes was about about me being a therapist, or she had questions about her friend or whoever needed, or she needed help herself. So sometimes it's not fair.
In the medical field, I know dealing with insurance companies is a SOB. How is it for you?
I don't work with a lot of them. I work with a few that I know that one that is easy access to some of the clients that it's both ways. There's a lot of hoops and stuff that you do have to get through. So I take a limited insurance because of that. And so it's not that bad. It's not that bad as most people think. But as long as you adhering to whatever they need, you should be good.
And the last question I always love to ask, what do you recommend being a therapist to someone else?
I only recommend being a therapist to somebody else if you are willing to, I don't know, it's tough, but I do recommend that because we need more people to help people. But I would only recommend if you can handle the calling. Like if you can handle what we experience and what we go through, and so much things that we hold space for people. And go ahead.
No. I just want to tap into what you were saying after you were done. Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, if you're able to hold space for people in a way that is nurturing and loving and kind and supportive and non-judgmental, then absolutely, I think this is a great field to be in.
Speaking about what you were just saying, how you have to hold so much space for other people, just speak about how difficult that part is. Just being, as you said, like you are human. You have to deal with life every day, and some people got kids, some people got husbands, whatever your life goes. How difficult is that part?
I think that one of the things in grad school that they drilled into us is our self-care. Is that our self-care has to be number one. Like, I think that is not just a cliche, but making sure that I'm totally well, because we do hold space. Like, for instance, whatever goes on in the world, we're the first people in the line to hear about it. And so not only that I'm hearing it directly from the news or from whatever media outlet, but I'm also hearing it in front of me and the distress that's happening. And so so during the election, most of the conversations was around the election. And so it is important that definitely I take care of myself and making sure that that I'm well enough to hold space for the individual. So,
have you ever had to stop seeing a client because maybe like your mental space wasn't there for it?
Mm-mm. No, I think that my training, my skills, just my self-care. Now, if it's not a good fit, definitely there's referral and there's a process for that. But no, I have not, let go of a client because I'm not well. I think it's important that I have to take care of myself, and I think that I'm my priority. And again, if I'm not well, then I can't show up to anybody.
And I know I said last question a couple questions ago, but last question. What would you say is the biggest challenge in being a therapist?
The biggest challenge in being a therapist is that sometimes my brain doesn't shut off.
It's just always going.
It's always going. And so my wind down process has to be very strategic. And I think at the beginning of the podcast that you asked me about, like, about
the dating thing.
Yeah, just the interaction. And so I'm always assessing. That's true. Like, I'm always looking. I'm always checking, you know what I mean? And so that's just a natural thing that we were taught to assess and to assess everything. And so that's something that could be a challenge, but is sometimes a challenge that my mind doesn't get to shut off like everybody else's.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
These have been great answers. I just wanted to tell you that. You have gave
Thank
really, really good answers.
Thank you.
We're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna let you do some closing stuff on yourself.
Okay. I appreciate for being able to come on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I hope whatever I said was helpful. And my advice or recommendations, I don't give advice, but my recommendations is that everybody get a chance to heal and seek help.
You wanted to say your business?
Yes, my business is Dear Mind Counseling. It is a brand new practice, actually. And it's a group practice. So I have a few clinicians with me. I have myself as a fully licensed clinician. I have a social worker, and I have 3 clinicians. I have a social worker, I have a family and marriage counselor, and I also have another fully licensed therapist or counselor. So.
And where can they book with you?
I have a website, dearmindscounseling.com. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Mindful Marshae.
And as y'all know, I am the host, KD, of the Popular Loser podcast. And go get that everywhere. Go watch it. Go listen to it. Go consume it. Popular Loser podcast, spell that S with a $sign, because as y'all know, this is not for fun, but it is for funds. Loser out.